watch Squid Game Season 2? Or should you? Squid Game was a cultural phenomenon when it premiered in 2021. With its intense, violent competition and deep social commentary, the show captured the attention of millions around the world. But now that Squid Game Season 2 is on the way, fans are divided. Some are excited to see what happens next, while others fear that the show might lose the magic that made it special in the first place. So, should you watch Squid Game Season 2, or should you skip it? Let's break down both sides and explore what could go right or wrong with the new season. Why Season 1 was so impactful. Before we dive into why you might not want to watch Season 2, let's talk about what made the first season so great. Squid Game wasn't just a show about deadly games, it was a critique of class inequality and the desperation that people feel when they're pushed to the edge. The characters were regular, everyday people. Debt-ridden, desperate, and willing to do anything for a chance at a better life. This made the stakes feel incredibly real, and the show's portrayal of greed, power, and survival struck a chord with audiences around the world. The show's structure, with each game becoming more brutal than the last, kept viewers on edge. But it wasn't just the violence that made it popular. It was the emotional weight behind each death. The friendships and betrayals that developed between the players made their fates all the more heartbreaking. By the end, we weren't just watching people die in gruesome ways, we were watching the collapse of hope, the destruction of human connection, and the lengths to which people would go for money. The ending of Season 1 was also powerful. After Seong Gi-hun wins the game, he's left with a hollow victory. He has the money, but he's lost his friends, his sense of purpose, and perhaps even his humanity. The twist, that the mastermind behind the games was one of the players, Oh left viewers questioning everything they thought they knew about the competition. Why Season 2 might be a mistake. Now, let's talk about why some people think Squid Game Season 2 is a bad idea. One of the main concerns is that the show was perfect as a standalone story. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end that left viewers with just enough mystery to keep them thinking about the show long after it ended. Stretching that story into multiple seasons could dilute the impact of the original. One of the biggest risks is that Squid Game will become repetitive. The first season worked because it was fresh and unexpected. No one had seen a show quite like it before, and the shock value was part of what made it so compelling. But now that we know what the games are about, Season 2 might not have the same impact. The element of surprise is gone, and there's a danger that the show could fall into a formulaic pattern, more deadly games, more shocking deaths, but less emotional weight. Another issue is that the social commentary might take a backseat to the spectacle. In the first season, the brutal games were a metaphor for the cutthroat competition of capitalism and the way society preys on the vulnerable. But with the pressure to keep the show popular, there's a risk that Season 2 could focus more on creating bigger, more elaborate games to keep viewers hooked, rather than continuing the thoughtful critique that made the first season so meaningful. In addition, Seong Gi-hun's arc in Season 1 felt complete. He went through a life-changing experience, won the game, and was left to grapple with the consequences of his choices. Bringing him back for another round of games might feel forced, and his motivations in Season 2 could be less compelling. Is he really going to risk his life again just to take down the organizers? Will his character development from Season 1 be undone by putting him back into the same situation? Finally, expanding the show into more seasons could turn Squid Game into just another franchise that keeps going for the sake of keeping audiences interested. It risks losing the unique storytelling that made it stand out in the first place. Think about shows like The Walking Dead or Money Heist. They started strong but eventually lost steam as they dragged out their stories for too long. There's a fear that Squid Game could go down the same path. But there's still hope for Season 2. Despite these concerns, there are also reasons to be optimistic about Squid Game Season 2. First, the creator, Hwang Dong-hyuk, spent over a decade developing the concept for Squid Game. His vision for the show didn't stop with the first season. In interviews, he's mentioned that he always had ideas for how the story could continue, and that Season 2 was part of his plan all along. Knowing that there was always an intention to explore more of this world gives some hope that the second season won't just be a cash grab, but a natural continuation of the story. There are also several unanswered questions from the first season that Season 2 could explore. For example, we still don't know much about the organization behind the games. Who are they? How do they recruit players? What's their end goal? Season 2 could dive deeper into these mysteries, offering a broader look at the world of Squid Game and expanding the story in ways that keep it fresh and interesting. Seong Gi-hun's decision at the end of Season 1 to turn back and confront the organizers also sets up an intriguing storyline for Season 2. He's no longer just a desperate player, he's a man on a mission. Seeing how he navigates the world of the games from a new perspective could add new layers to his character and offer a different kind of tension. Instead of just surviving, he'll be actively trying to take down the system. This could lead to exciting new conflicts and a more complex plot. Additionally, the show could introduce new characters with different motivations, adding fresh dynamics to the story. The new players could come from different backgrounds, and their reasons for participating in the games could reflect different social issues. This would allow the show to continue its commentary on society while keeping the format of the games intact. The games themselves could evolve. Another interesting possibility for Season 2 is that the games themselves could evolve. In the first season, the games were based on simple childhood activities, but with deadly consequences. Now that we've seen that, the second season could introduce new types of challenges that are even more psychological or strategic, rather than just relying on physical survival. This would keep the tension high without simply repeating the same formula from Season 1. There's also the introduction of Jung-jae's boyfriend, Cheol-soo, which has already been teased. This suggests that the creators are thinking creatively about how to keep the games fresh and unsettling. The use of these giant, eerie figures in the games was one of the most memorable aspects of Season 1, and seeing how they'll be incorporated in new ways could be one of the more exciting aspects of Season 2. Should you watch it? So, after considering both sides, should you watch Squid Game Season 2? If you loved the first season for its originality, emotional depth, and social commentary, you might be worried that Season 2 will water down the show's impact. There's a real risk that the show could become repetitive, lose its message, or simply fall into the trap of extending the story too far. But on the other hand, if you're curious about where the story goes next, there's a lot of potential for Season 2 to build on the world of Squid Game in interesting ways. The unanswered questions, the new characters, and the evolution of the games could make it worth watching. Plus, with Wang Dong-hyuk still at the helm, there's reason to believe that he'll continue to bring the same thoughtfulness and creativity to the show. In the end, it comes down to what you're looking for. If you're worried about the show losing its edge, you might want to wait and see how Season 2 is received. But if you're excited to see more of this world and these characters, then go ahead and watch it. You might just be surprised again, like you were with Season 1.